Monty and the Pharaoh.
It's Monty and the Pharaoh.
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 Monty and Pharaoh. It's Monty and the Pharaoh.
And Monty and the Pharaoh. Oh, is it Monty and the Pharaoh?
Monty and Pharaoh.
The Monty and the Pharaoh Show.
Monty and the Pharaoh.
To the Monty and the Pharaoh Show. And it's Monty and the Pharaoh, baby.
Monty and the Pharaoh.
Monty and the Pharaoh. Monty and the Pharaoh. Oh, what a run.
Monty and the Pharaoh.
Monty and the Pharaoh.
Hey, cut music. When you want the best in professional wrestling, Long Island, there's only one place you're going to get it, right here.
Monty and the Pharaoh. Now, that's not just the coolest, and that's not just the best. That, my friends, is just incredible. Monty and the Pharaoh.
You've got the future Hall of Famer, that Rucker, Marty Jannetty, MJ in the house, and I'm sitting here with two more future Hall of Famers, Monty and the Pharaoh. We're doing that stuff and we gonna rock it.
Thank you. It's awesome to be on the Monty and Pharaoh Show. It's a pleasure. Anytime I'm here, would love to hook up with you guys. It's a pleasure. It's an honor. Thank you very much. For your love of the industry, too. You guys know everything.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
So thank you for everything that you do. We appreciate you.
All right.
Straight to the top. We're living this life, not just dreaming it, we're doing it for it. Straight to the top. Working hard every day just to live a better way.
WWE Pro Wrestling great Tatanka.
Thank you, man. It's a pleasure to be here on the Monty and Pharaoh Show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Welcome.
And to the right is none other than the star of the show, Jimmy Farrow.
Back again?
No, it's awesome to have you. Oh, boy.
I had
got
to
it.
once, man,
Oh,
you know?
boy.
It's tremendous how bodybuilding is so great in our field because with World Wrestling Federation, it's different today. The guys today are less than 200 pounds.
Yeah.
When I walked into the locker room in World Wrestling Federation in 1990, when I went into the gym, you see nothing but monsters. Every guy was 270 pounds and above. I'm looking, here's Hulk Hogan training. I'm looking over here, here's Legion of Doom on the incline press with 405 pounds. Cha-ching, making it sing. Cha-ching, cha-ching, with 405. Look over here, Jimmy Superfly Snooker, the whole rat. Over here, Hercules.
Yeah.
Over here, Barbarian. Over there, Warlord.
Sure.
And everybody was big, but everybody came from also a lot of bodybuilding and powerlifting. So it really helped the guys of our era, World Wrestling Federation, coming from a bodybuilding. With World Wrestling Federation, when I started, we were actually booked officially, my first 7 years, 300 days a year. But even more than that, on weekends, on a Saturday, we would do a 1 o'clock show.
Double, huh?
And then we'd do an 8 o'clock show.
Wow.
They don't do that anymore.
No.
And all these kids today going, oh, it's so tough.
Right.
4 days
Yeah.
on,
Get out.
3 days off.
Do you watch the product?
4 days, yes.
You do?
Yeah, I'm on contract
You
with them.
still
so I
watch the product.
Well,
Nice.
it's changed a lot.
Yeah,
Of course it's
sure.
changed a lot.
Sure.
But I still watch it. But the travel schedule, like Hogan said, it was 90 days on one tour before he got home for one day. I've been on the road 60 days before getting home.
Wow.
And having that one day off.
Wow.
Him 90 days. So not only that, the reason I say it's tougher, not only are you wrestling, not only are you traveling, meaning flying in, got to go get your rent a car, got to go get your hotel, then you got to go from the hotel, now you got to go get a bite to eat, now you got to go to the gym, go work out, so you're still competing, meaning bodybuilding,
where does sleep
still
come
doing
in?
what you're doing,
Any
then you
sleep?
got to come back to the hotel, get ready, get to the building, do the event. People think we're planning everything out.
Right.
We ain't got no time to plan everything
Right.
out. And then after that, find something to eat, get back to your hotel. If you're on main event, you're getting in at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, get up 6, 7 o'clock to take a flight. We flew every single day. So pro wrestling has a way more demanding schedule. Back in the day, we weren't, when I came in, a lot of guys had juiced. But I was there when the drug testing started. If you remember, shortly in the 90s, you know, all the problems.
Defend.
the fans. So again, they would walk right in, watch you pee right in the cup. Talk about me. Even Vince McMahon. He seen me in 2005 when I signed my new contract with him. He looked at me and says, Tatanka, you look the same. I go, Vince, you look the same too. But probably the most craziest thing, you know, we feel for him. I mean, he's better now. But I remember the guy who I drove with all the time was Undertaker.
Okay.
My first 5 years, that's who I traveled with all the time.
Okay.
We just hit it off, me and Mark. So we flew into, actually we were in Canada. Mark came to my room to actually say, okay, let's go. We're going to go work out. He says, let's go stop by Jake's room. Now, we had just got in, just flew in.
Jake the Snake.
Jake the Snake. By the time we got to Jake's Snake room, he was already lit up.
Oh, boy.
Already lit up. Smoking, crack, already
the
lit
crack,
up.
yeah.
Okay?
Cracking?
So
Oh,
it's
boy.
great to see him in
he's
a way
good
better
now.
place today,
good
all
now.
of us. There's something different about our era. When guys got into the locker room, you would see guys that would go out and maybe stay out all night long. But there was something tough about all the guys then. When it came to showtime,
They put up. They put up.
everybody gave 100% and left all their energy.
They were able to turn that
all
light
their
on
love,
and
all
do it.
everything
Right.
in the ring. And it was just, the guys were just a different breed. They're not like that today. The guys were just tough, man. Guys would go out every single night, but they'd get in the ring and just perform like unbelievably. When I first came in, the first guy I worked with, the first match I had was with the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase.
Sweet.
What a match to have.
Right into the deep end of the pool.
Right into the deep end of the pool.
But with a solid worker who's going to make
my
sure
God.
you're successful,
pro,
right?
too.
Exactly.
Nice.
But when I worked with him, I walked up to him because the way we were brought up and how we were taught, it's not like that now. I walked up and said, $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, it's an honor to meet you. It's going to be a pleasure to work with you. Tell me what you want. There's a way big difference between being a wrestler and being a worker. Knowing what to do in that ring, not only to be believable, but to get those people emotionally tied to that character, emotionally tied to that match. You don't see that anymore. Guys are just out there dancing, going through the steps, going through the motions.
Did it matter?
It's like a dance.
Did it matter to you if
not slowing down, okay?
Right.
To tell a story,
Yeah.
to make people be emotionally involved.
I call it a
Yes.
flip-flop fest because they flip and they fly and they flop, and finishes happen in the first 30 seconds of a match. 47 kickouts. So what's going
Exactly.
on here?
What is going on? What
Yeah,
are you
there's
doing?
no story.
What are you doing? All these big power wrestling,
Right.
strong man wrestling,
Right.
kicking out of everything, big moves right at the beginning. Is that really?
No.
135 pounder, just like you said.
I can't.
If some of us don't like guys like this, the reason why, because you act like you're so tough.
Right.
But guys from my era will beat your damn. When I got in, it wasn't a choice. You had to be a character. It wasn't like I can come in with just my boots, tights, and knee pads. You had to be a character. Everybody was characters. You look, Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Legion of Doom,
Macho.
Rick the Model Martel, Macho Man,
Sure.
Demolition. Everybody looked totally unique, totally different. No one looked the same. It's cookie cutter now. But I was very fortunate when I came in that Vince, as you know,
had some push.
I went 2 years undefeated.
huge, yeah.
You
had
had
So I
some
didn't lose
push.
nothing for 2 years, and then and with that kind of push, when you finally do something, which I had my first defeat with Luvid Borga,
Oy.
but it wasn't just with Luvid Borga. He nailed me with a chair shot. Believe me, he nailed me. But it wasn't that. They also brought out the WWF champion, Yokozuna, with Mr. Fuji. So it took all those elements to defeat me, so
Right.
they kept me strong. And even though that he beat me and pinned me by a chair shot, when they announced me again with Luve, the pop was even higher.
Yeah, sure.
Because they were upset with what happened. So it can work in your favor. So they had got me so strong at that point that it didn't hurt me at all. Of finally having that first defeat.
sure.
It only made me better.
Well, sure.
Vince McMahon.
Oh, yeah.
Worked for the biggest company in the world. I'm on contract with him today. What did he do for WrestleMania?
Mortgaged
he
his
took
house.
everything he had. everything he
on the
had.
line.
House, all the money.
Sure.
And he put it into the concept of WrestleMania. And look what it is today. Ken Shamrock, as you know, was a fighter at that time, doing MMA. I came out of nothing but playing football. All we needed, both of us, all we knew how to do was hit hard. We would wrestle each other and beat each other. We were tough, though, but
Right.
we'd beat each other up. And I'll tell you, too, what I understand, too, Vince McMahon you know, also he doesn't like the NXT talent. He doesn't like those
hear
small
that.
wrestlers.
I hear that. Yep.
Triple H loves it.
Yeah.
Vince is not crazy about it, is what I understand. And the reason he's not crazy about it, because he likes the believability, what we're talking about. He likes the guy, remember back in World Wrestling Federation, again, what we talked about earlier, everybody was monsters.
Yes.
Yeah, they were.
When we walked in somewhere, the fans didn't do what they did. It was like the parting of the Red Sea. The fans would back up. Here comes Taker, all the guys, just monsters, guys that you would not mess with. Now look at the guys.
Hey, Dom
you
Rock-
can't even tell they're wrestlers.
No.
I think it's tremendous what they've done for the women. I mean,
I feel it's been rammed down our throats, if I can be honest.
of course, exactly.
I think it's way overrated, but that's me.
Yeah, but they're better looking than Fabulous Moolah, man.
Well, that's true.
When we started our business, it was Vince McMahon, Pat Patterson, a successful wrestler,
Yes.
Sure.
and Chief Jay Strongbow, a successful wrestler.
A successful
was it.
Italian Indian.
You got it.
I can't anymore.
Joe
Go on.
Scarpa, you got
There
it.
you
go. Yep.
He loved the Native American, our culture, but he wasn't Native American.
How did you feel about that, by the way? Like, just your personal thought.
No, it didn't bother me because I'm not one of those Native Americans that believe that the Redskins need to take off. I know what they're saying.
Interesting.
I know what they're saying. I know what
Okay.
because back in that day we were called Redskins.
Is it wrong for me
It was
to
a
love-
racial term, but what I say is, hey, you could change a mascot, but is it really going to change what's happening on native land? Mine is
Today's
going.
WWE is a microcosm of today's USA.
Yeah, that's a real good thing.
I'm going to go with yes.
Yeah, yes. Me and Tony Atlas he was kind of speaking about that. He says, look what WWE's doing. They're kind of matching everything that's going out with what's happening in politics right now. How they're putting certain people in positions, you know. When only we were talking about that, Tony made me realize too about how the minorities were the ones who were so important before in World Wrestling Federation, but how they're changing things today in the company. But I have to say yes, I agree with you.
How do we get to the name Tatanka?
Tatanka, Vince sat down with me and he says, Chris, he says, I respect that you're real native blood from the Lumbee Nation. He says, I don't want to disrespect your heritage at all. He says, why don't you find the name? He gave it to me. So I started researching names, and as I researched names, the thing about Native American names, perfect example, good example right here. Dances with Wolves.
I was about to say, did you get it from
love
Dances with
that.
Wolves?
No, I didn't get it from Dance with Wood, but I want you to.
Beautiful
I'm
film.
using it because Native Americans name things not because how we name things. Oh, I think Jeff is a cool name. Or I think this is a cool name. No, natives always name how your characteristics are. It's something personal. It's about your identity. It's about who you are. It's about what they see. That's the reason why the lady said, why do they call you stands with a fist? Because someone upset me. I stood up. Boom. Kevin Costner, the native seen him dancing with the wolf, dances with wolves. So the thing about native names, when I did research, they're normally 3 or 4 words, or 2 or 3 words. Hard for to use that for wrestling.
They named me Has Small.
Yeah.
They named me constantly.
I kept researching, all of a sudden I seen this name, Tatanka.
Nice.
I went, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I went, let me research. Sioux name, what does it mean? Buffalo.
Buffalo.
I went, ooh, and I sat there and I started thinking, Tatanka, Tatanka,
get the
perfect
chant.
for the fans.
Okay.
Right.
So I went back to Vince, and Vince says, you find something? I go, yeah. He said, what'd you find? I went to Tatanka. He says, what does it mean? Buffalo. He says, I love it, we're going with
He
it.
must have,
Because
yeah.
you're going to run over your opponents.
That's awesome.
You sure did.
Boom, Buffalo just runs over their opponent. You're not going to
So let me ask you a question. You got an incredible push for such a long time.
man. Yes.
How much did you get from a lot of the older wrestlers?
Ooh,
Did
behind
they
the
give
scenes?
you a lot of problems in the ring, out of the ring?
Well, that has a lot to do with who you are. When you started saying that, the first person I started thinking about was Undertaker, not in a negative way, positive way. Because I'm sitting there, I just came in, just started, and I'm doing that poster where I have my hands up, and Taker's over there as they're doing professional shots, and all the boys over here. He goes, look at this young kid coming in already getting T-shirts, and he was just joking with me because we're already driving together. What determines how the boys treat you is, are you real? Are you cool? Are you humble? Are you stuck up on yourself? Do you think that you know it all? meaning you wrestle first on the card, okay? Me, Rick the Model Martel, first match. Do you go to the locker room and do you get undressed, take a shower, and leave and go out and party? Or do you go get a chair and set it by the ring curtain and watch all the other great guys throw on that card? Bret the Hitman Hart, Macho Man Randy Savage, all the big names. Are you watching all the matches? I'd set my chair there and watch all the matches.
You made it hard for them to dislike you.
Yeah, and matter of
You
fact,
were doing the right thing.
Doing the right thing. Matter of
There you
fact,
go.
Chief Jay Strongbow, when you got new guys coming in, they won't tell you this, but they'll just come by and just see what you're doing. Mm-hmm. They'll see what you're doing, checking up on you. That's what they do. They check. That's
great.
And if you're having a bad attitude, it's kind of like a college fraternity. In our business, you got to get through the frat house before you get to the main house. You don't get to the office if you can't mix with the boys, because we're family. We're on the road 300 days a year. You got to be able to work with the guys. You can't be a pain in. You can't be a problem. Because if you're a problem, you're affecting that whole locker room.
Sure.
You're infecting that whole locker room with negatives. You're bitching, complaining, causing problems. No, they didn't have time for that. So I was just always a cool guy, personal. Didn't act like I was anyone special. Just a normal guy. But blessed enough to be able to work at World Wrestling Federation and have that opportunity and have that push.
Thoughts?
So I never have problems with guys.
Okay.
The biggest rib that I had happen to me, and Chief Jay Strongbow stood up for me, the biggest rib I ever have happened to me was with the Steiner brothers. Okay, I went to go work, and afterwards I took a shower, and of course I'm like Jimmy Hart. We have our hair, we still have all our hair, blow drying our hair, being all pretty. But that's a big part that Jimmy's known about, big part that's known about me, our hairstyles. Well, I went to go get my blow dryer out of my bag, and I pulled it out, and I reached to the end of the cord to go plug in, and my plug had been cut off.
Oh.
So Steiners had cut the plug off. That's the worst thing that happened to me.
You got lucky.
If you, but that means they like you.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Chief Judge Strongbow stood up for me and says, "Don't you do that ever again to Tatanka." He got on the Steiner brother. But if they don't like you,
What's one of the worst ribs you ever saw? Were you ever uncomfortable with it?
oh, I was uncomfortable when I seen. I won't say I was not that I was uncomfortable, but sitting there in the locker room and watching Mr. Fuji open up a side of a big garment bag,
Right.
which was Virgil's bag.
Okay.
And Virgil would get a lot of heat at times because of the things that he would do.
Right.
And watch Mr. Fuji just take a big horse dump
Nice.
in that garment bag and then zip it back up.
Nice.
Oh, if you're not like, believe me, you're gonna come back. Your shirt sleeves will be cut off.
Yeah.
Your underwear will have Tiger Balm in it, and you won't know until it's too late. You put them on.
Right.
Or your bag will be locked at the top of the ceiling with no bolt cutters around.
Oh my God.
If you're not liked, they'll make it so bad for you that you want to leave.
Check out Fuji leaving
But
a
you're-
special soy sauce.
Oh yeah, Mr. Fuji was the one that if there was a problem with someone,
Wow.
if Mr. Fuji's coming to look for you, God rest his soul, if Mr. Fuji coming looking for you, you're in trouble.
Did you dislike anyone?
I didn't really dislike anyone. There's probably the first guy that came in our industry that I had a problem with, and a lot of guys had a problem with, and that's the reason he had a short-lived career, was Ahmed Johnson.
Interesting.
Do you remember him?
Sure
Absolutely.
do. He got a big push.
Yeah, well, they wanted to push him,
Yeah.
but me and Jeff Jarrett was working with him all the time, but he would literally stand in front of the mirror in the locker room with the other boys. I'm the greatest. I'm awesome. Don't forget at that time when he came in, there was a lot of stuff going on at that time. When Ahmed Johnson came in is when everyone had left not everyone.
Well, it was
but they
getting
went
there,
to
yeah.
Turner Broadcasting.
Tides be changing,
That's
shifting.
when Hogan was there, Macho Man, and there was a big shift there, and we were looking for new guys. I think they were looking for new guys to try to get some attention to our company because we were battling at that time.
Now, were you ever contacted by Turner at all?
Yes.
What went down with that?
I'm going to say this right now, and we're going to get this clear again. Okay, I've already called him out on it again, and I'll call him out on it right here on the radio because I've never heard anything great about him. Eric Bischoff. Okay, yes, we'll give credit for credit's due with the success that he had, but I came from WWF about 96, 97. I wanted to take a break, and even Chief Jay Strongbow told me should take a break. The company's focused on fighting with WCW instead of focusing on what's going on here. So, but I was still in contract with WWF. I was contacted by WCW, Eric Bischoff. Okay? contacted me, wanted me to come down to Nitro, wanted me to be sitting by ringside, kind of bringing me an introduction so they could eventually bring me into the company. Okay, I've made that statement before, and Eric's went after that saying, oh, I never did that. I've already called him out on you liar, and I'm saying it again. He's a liar.
Right.
You know, what is wrong with you? You called me.
Yeah, right.
Why would I want to make a story up like that for?
Sure.
Well, what benefit is it to me? So me, I look at him totally different. Ever because of that, I look at him totally different. I don't like you, Eric. I'm sorry.
Right.
Just that simple.
How about someone you do like, I would assume? Rick Martel, Hall of Famer in your opinion?
Yes, definitely. When I came into the business, I was still green. I'd only been working 1 year.
Fast track.
I'm fine-tuned already.
Fast track.
Chief Jay Strongbow said something to me famous, a famous statement that's just became so true. He said, Tatanka, 5 years into this business, you just start learning. And he's so true. Because as soon as 5 years got there, you're really starting to get the flow of it. Not meaning having to do what guys do today, meaning feeling it, knowing what to do in an instant, on the spot, not because you're planning it, not because you got to talk it out for 4 hours, knowing like some of the greats, Roddy Piper, know exactly what to do in that ring at that moment to get those fans, to pull them into the ring and have them in the palm of his hands. Okay, so in 5 years, I just started feeling that and understanding that.
Would you say your growth process was accelerated working with a guy like Martel?
Martel is tremendous. That's the reason I was going to say. They
There you
put
go.
me with him first. Why?
Right.
He was a seasoned veteran. Why? He fine-tuned me. I learned so much, not by us sitting there talking, by being in the ring with him every night. Timing, positioning, expressions, fire, everything that you need to know to be a big baby face and a superstar in our industry. Rick Martel brought that out, and Rick Martel will tell you, ever since that's happened, I've always given him credit for my success in the business to him all the time. I mention his name all the time. You're working with Rick the Model Martel.
Just watch these matches. They hold up great.
Before I came in, when you're watching it on Saturday morning, who'd you see all the time? Rick the Model Martel, meaning one of their top stars. You got a locker room back there, and you only got so many guys that's going to be on TV.
Yeah.
Like today, you got a lot of guys, but now you got all the brands. SmackDown, Raw, NXT. You got all of this. Before, it was just one wrestling company.
Yeah.
Saturday morning TV. That was it. So whoever was on TV was top talent. Top talent, Rick the Model Martel. So I was so thankful to be able to work with him. The Hall of Famer, you better believe. $50 million years ago.
Right.
I'm sure now WWE from 2014 to 2019 has doubled their revenue. They now just did $930.2 million last year.
Jeez.
This year they're going to do
Can't even.
over $1 billion. These are facts. $1 billion this year because of their new TV deals. But you would never think, how could a company go out of business? Well, it's the cash flow problem. Keeping something in operation. Having that $67 million setting there just to operate the company. So when that's not coming in, because all those bonuses that you get from being in the #1 spot on TV, you're not getting those extra millions of dollars. It can make a big, you just see this big company, but you don't understand how big business operates. And one little facet can really mess up the whole thing.
Older wrestlers getting full medical from the WWE or whatever else. What are your thoughts on all that?
I was just on a tour just recently in Georgia, okay? And the guy who I actually ended up going with was Brian Blair. We're going to do TV for a company in Georgia. But the first one we had to go pick up was Paul Orndorff. Okay, here's a WWE Hall of Famer. Now, he's not doing good, dementia. So, but I looked at his life, too. I think a WWE Hall of Famer, a lot of guys make mistakes, of course. If you make your own mistake, then you kind of got to lay in that bed yourself. But I see a WWE Hall of Famer that financially, his house was in distress, his yard, big tall grass, leaves all over the roof, mildew on the outside of the house, meaning not being taken care of. A WWE Hall of Famer, in my eyes, just like Hall of Famers in pro football, things like that, they shouldn't be dealing with things of that nature. If you're a Hall of Famer, you should really have that lifestyle. It doesn't mean you have to have millions of dollars.
Right.
Or this. extravagant lifestyle.
At least
but the
give them what they
simple
need.
things in your
Yeah,
life
yeah.
should be taken care
Understood.
of. So I would love to see that the guys who work so hard to give so much to the company and make WWE be what it is today, that top talent who gave so much of themselves, that they don't have to worry about the little small things.
Do you think that Vince will ever do this for them? No.
Well, you know, to Vince has done a lot behind the scenes that people
sure.
don't know.
Right.
I'm sure.
Helping, paying. He don't have to, but he goes,
I
give him
understand.
the money, pay for that medical, do this, do that. He don't have to, because look at all the wrestlers. We were just talking about that next door. Look at all the guys. Where does it end if you start doing that?
Right.
Where does it end?
Or how about the ones that backstab you after you stop doing it because you've done enough, and
Of
they
course.
can
And
then they
and then
cremate
and then
you
they
on
cremate
Facebook
you
for the
on
rest of
social
your
media,
life.
right?
Of course, exactly. And Vince knows that too.
Yeah.
You know, and as we talk, you know how many guys are in lawsuits.
Yeah,
Here I'm sitting on
sure.
a Legends contract.
Right.
But there's guys that are out there that have tremendous names in our industry.
Yes.
They're not on a Legends contract. Why? Because you're sitting there kicking WWE in the face.
Yeah.
You got to make a decision. WWE is the number one company, sports entertainment company in the world, okay? There's no one compared to them. You got AEW coming out now, but I've always looked at everyone and laugh how, even Hogan, when he came out with Impact Wrestling, you remember?
Yeah, sure.
TNA. You
Yeah.
remember when he did?
Yeah.
Okay, brother, we're going head to head, brother. It's going to be WWE, brother. Impact Wrestling team. We're going to take the ratings. They went down in the ratings.
Yeah.
You're going to compete with WWE Monday Night Raw. Come
Yeah,
on,
good
Vince
luck.
has been doing this for
Forever.
very long. He
Yeah.
did not become this monstrous
By
company
accident, yeah,
overnight or by accident.
Can Triple H carry it on though after Vince goes
Yeah.
on?
What's your thoughts
Well,
on
Triple H is definitely being trained all the way by Vince.
Right.
We're just talking about this next door, thinking that Vince is not in charge. He's still in charge.
He's still in
He
charge.
is.
He's still
I
in charge.
believe
Well, I
he's
stand
completely-
corrected then.
No,
Come
no,
on, I
he's
stand
still
corrected.
in charge.
Completely.
Oh, completely.
I agree.
He's not
Yep.
giving the reins to
Yep.
Stephanie's in creative control, but he
Triple H thinks differently than Vince, though.
yes, he does. He thinks different. For example, he loves NXT.
He does.
Triple H. Vince doesn't like NXT
Right.
because he doesn't like the small
Vince
guys.
is way more
it's
impulsive,
not believable
in my mind.
to him. He doesn't like the small wrestlers.
Would you agree, though, that he's more impulsive than Triple
Yes,
H?
he is.
Seems to change his mind constantly, Vince.
Of
Especially
course.
now.
Of course.
Nowadays.
Yeah,
Right.
of course, definitely. But yes, he's still in control.
Are you concerned with his aging? He seems like he's aging, like fast.
Well, he's aging fast, but you just seen him. Well,
Like in the last
his
year, it's
age has got
alarming
there.
me.
But I'm telling you, man,
It's alarming me
You
in the
just
last
seen him
year.
on Monday Night Raw. He's
You look
still
like he hasn't
doing
slept since he
fantastic.
signed you.
It's built
I'm
up.
serious.
Thank you. It's awesome to be on the Monty and Pharaoh show. It's a pleasure. Anytime I'm here, would love to hook up with you guys. It's
Absolutely.
a pleasure. It's an honor. Thank you
you.
very much
It's our
for your
pleasure.
love of the industry too. You guys know everything.
Well,
You're
thank you
sitting there
very much.
chilling.
I appreciate
so thank you
it.
for everything that you do. We appreciate you.
All right.